Hey team, Justin here, coming to you with your February 17th, 18th edition of In the Loop, sitting outside the Bettendorf Library, which just happens to be one of my favorite places to engage and to work. Cool place really just to meet a lot of new people and to get to know those in the community. So coming from you from there, I know some of you missed me last week. The In the Loop didn't happen. And one reason, which is one of the things I love about our church, but is also one of the reasons why we didn't have an In the Loop last week, was simply that God is entrusting many people who are hurting and who are broken to us as a campus. And I absolutely love that. That never gets old. And we are truly living into becoming known as a place where people will be loved regardless of what they're navigating. But last week when it came time to sit down and to shoot this, we had one family, in fact, we had a number of families last week who just encountered significant trauma in their lives. So I'd missed out on last week's video, but I wanted to celebrate one thing that we shared a couple weeks ago, and that we welcomed Michelle Clavan to the Bettendorf campus ministry team. Michelle's going to serve as our assistant campus pastor, and I mentioned this on the weekend, but Michelle comes with 25 years of experience as a pastor actually in the Nazarene church, so she'll be becoming a part of the Wesleyan church kind of in that transition. But I'm so excited that she's here. I'm looking forward to you getting to know her and work with her, and I got to tell you, we are going to be better as a team because God has orchestrated Michelle joining the team. So can't wait for you to get to know her. But as we lean into this weekend, I'm looking forward to another great weekend as we continue the conversation in our Last Word series. Pastor Jeremiah is going to be preaching. But one of the things we're going to hand out is actually one of these invite cards to our Easter services. It has this on the front. Our Good Friday and Easter services are on the back. And so in our services this week, we're going to pass these out. And I encourage you to take some time to grab one of those, to pray over those. I shared in service last week how I'm actively getting to know some of our neighbors and looking to invite them to those services. And so just by way of just kind of recap on what those details are, Good Friday service is kind of an unplugged moment for us as a campus. And we're going to have two this year because last year we were so full that we've decided to go with two Good Friday services at 6 o'clock and at 7:30. That's on March 30th, Good Friday. And so I encourage you, plan on being there, being a part of that, and come and worship and invite those who maybe around you have never been to a Good Friday service to come be a part of that. So we're going to have time to reflect on the cross, to take communion together, and it'll just be a powerful moment. And then on Saturday, as we turn from Good Friday, Jesus' death, into a moment of just great celebration and Easter, Saturday we'll have two services, a 4 o'clock and a 6 o'clock. And then Sunday on April the 1st, we will have a 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. And I'll tell you, we had at the Bettendorf campus around 1,300 people at Easter, over 5 services. So we're only going to have 4 services on Easter, which means it's going to be full. And so our team will be so important to help people find chairs and to make them feel loved and welcomed. And this team is knocking it out of the park. So I look forward to seeing how God is going to work in and through those services. And then on following Easter, we've been talking about how our 10:45 service will actually be shifting to start at 11 o'clock from here on out. It gives us time to connect with each other, time to pray, more time for our people to actually get to know one another. And so I'm super excited about that. I know it has ripples for some of us who have been serving in that way, but thank you for championing that and encouraging that as we move forward. So a couple ways you can pray as we lean into the weekend. The first and foremost, I'd ask you to consider taking some time. Easter is roughly 2 weeks away, to just pray and to fast. It could be maybe as you get your invite card, taking time to fast over this next couple weeks and just saying, God, would you move in our spaces, both this weekend, but certainly in Easter. So I encourage you to pray that way. Secondly, pray for Jeremiah as he kind of brings the word, week 3 of kind of this Last Words of Jesus series. I encourage you to pray along those ways. And then finally, as I mentioned before, we have a lot of people that are hurting in our campus right now. And a couple weeks ago, I heard a quote that says, God doesn't give us overcoming life. He doesn't give us overcoming life. He gives us life as we overcome. And so as we have people on our campus that are hurting and broken, we're being faced with the challenge of overcoming difficult scenarios, I'd ask that you pray for them specifically. In fact, the words of 1 Peter 5, verse 10 says this. It says, and after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore you, confirm you, strengthen you, and establish you. And if you would just join me in praying for those who are hurting, that God will show himself faithful in that promise in a way that will draw them to himself. I just can't wait to see how he'll respond to that. So love each of you. Hope you have a great weekend. I'll be in Wisconsin Dells with my family, just loving on my bride and kids, but I'll miss you, and I can't wait to see you back again next week. Love you guys. Talk soon.